Hey. So tonight we're going to be talking about loan officering. Yes, we're going to make that a very heavy verb tonight. Loan officering 101. And we have a lot of different things we're going to be talking about. Some good, some bad. Some of the things you can expect now, realistic expectations when you're dealing with a loan officer, and how to manage certain things they're asking for. And Trevor is going to be doing most of the talking tonight. So I won't get into how some people comment and observe how he talks a lot. But this is the thing, and I'm defending my man. He is the mortgage guy. He's the loan guy. He's the financing guy. He's the government loan guy for 30 plus years. So you want him talking, not sending comments to
Nasty
tell
comment.
him to shut up. That is not cool. That is
Nasty.
not cool.
I saw that comment today, actually. I was looking at
he's going to be blocked.
And that guy, all caps.
Yeah,
you know,
he's going to be blocked.
Dude, will you stop talking and let her say something? Let the lady talk.
Hey, Chevy.
I go, first of all, she's not a lady. She's my girl. She's my love.
Michael.
And
What's
she's
up?
a hottie.
Okay, so this is the other
she's
thing.
She's a hottie. Oh, that's right. Somebody got her second
I got my second shot yesterday, and I was in bed all day today, was not feeling well. So I don't know how this could be an abbreviated show. I just don't have a ton of energy. So we'll see how it goes. But to start off, let's just get into, Trev, basically, what is loan officer's disease?
Well, before we do that, we have some EIDL reconsideration updates.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
See, you know she's not feeling well because we have a script for tonight's show, and
even
I
when
showed
there's a
it to her a
script,
few minutes ago.
even when there's a script, I'm very defiant.
You guys don't. The early days of us doing videos and there was script. Oh my gosh, the outtakes are legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yeah,
so.
Michael, awesome. Chevy, good. Yes. It's just I didn't feel well the first time. Theodore, are you crazy? I didn't know.
Theodore, how are you? We sent you an email today, Theodore, asking you for some documents. So have a look at that email. I was in the supermarket grabbing a box of Raisin Bran when they announced, attention shoppers, if you have not been vaccinated, we have extra shots here in the pharmacy. Come on over. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I ran over there and boom, got my Johnson & Johnson. It was done.
Yeah.
So some really actually positive updates about the SBA EIDL reconsideration process tonight.
Do I have my
to
banner?
share with you? We do a lot of EIDL reconsideration work here for our clients.
David.
We now have over 180 clients, of which around 55, 58 or so are increase clients.
Mm-hmm.
That includes folks that we helped last year and we're helping them or have helped them. They've already been funded. And other folks who've asked us to help manage their process. And then the rest are folks who have been declined for EIDLs of various levels, either an increase that was declined or credit or unverifiable information. And so that's what I do 7 days a week.
By the way, so part of this too is you're going to be doing a lot of the talking, but I'm also going to try to MC as best as I can with certain things as the realistic business owner who doesn't loan officer all
This
day.
is me not interrupting you, by the way.
I know. I interrupted you too.
No, it's okay.
But
you can talk all you want. I'm not going to complain about it.
Can we just can we kick it off? And if I'm like going off script here, that's fine. But with the reconsideration updates, can we share how the denials are more prevalent, but
they're not.
Okay, and there might not be a reason to panic.
Well, that's in here actually. It's actually number
Brandon!
2. Hello,
Virginia.
Just it's actually that is actually number 2 on the
number
script.
2. Oh.
You know the script that I gave you a little while ago that you haven't read yet.
I got one.
Oh look, she's got the script on the desk. It's underneath the pad, like on the desktop. Okay, so reconsideration updates, and this information I have gleaned from my day-to-day experiences working on 180 plus files. All right, so here we go. First of all, you all should know the SBA is moving much faster on submitted reconsideration files. Now, generally, if you watch us, we don't usually talk about timelines, and if you call us, we tend to say timelines are all over the map. But there is a little bit of a pattern that I can share with you that may make you feel better or at least help you manage your expectations on your EIDL reconsideration process. I'm not talking about increases. I'm talking about if your loan was declined and you have submitted or are submitting or about to submit a reconsideration request. So typically, I'm seeing the SBA is coming back within 2 weeks. Within 14 days, I'm getting an email response from the SBA asking for additional documentation. And that is awesome because in previous months, it would take weeks and weeks, sometimes months before we'd see anything.
Right.
Secondly,
Hey, Kathy Lee.
once we're sending in documents, we're seeing, again, within a week or two, sometimes the next day, but typically on average, a week or two for additional documents. Once everything seems to be in place, about 30 days later, we're getting an approval. So, you know, all in, if you take 2 weeks, if that's all your documents and 30 days, what's that, 6 weeks? I mean, I think 6 weeks is light speed for any kind of commercial financing request. And considering everything we've all been through with SBA, it's certainly Star Trek light speed. Linda mentioned declination. So there's a lot of these templates that are going out. That is a template because I've received many of them for our reconsideration clients. And it reads like this. It's dated April 22nd or maybe April 16th, but most of them are dated April 22nd. Hey, SBA saying, we told you on April 22nd, you were not, you know, you're not going to be approved because of some problem and you did not provide further documentation. So without further documentation, we cannot approve your request. But you see, they're leaving the door open for you to submit the further documentation. So I'll tell you, a few weeks ago when I got the first one of these, I was flummoxed and confused. I couldn't understand it because it was a guy who it was an increase request and it was perfect kind of file. Well, I didn't take any action on it at first. And before I could, lo and behold, the loan was approved. And we've seen that now happen with multiple other files where we get this declination that's dated April 22nd. And then about a week later, I'm getting a request for additional documentation. So I don't understand the mechanism here, but it really looks like SBA is working hard to make this process better for all of you. All right. Next, I want to talk about the word perfection, Linda Ray.
Yes, perfection.
Okay. Just today,
do I have a banner for
here's what I'm seeing. You submit documents, folks, they'd better be 110% perfect because the SBA is reading, and they're not just reading, they're reading everything. And they are kicking back illegible driver's licenses, bad PDF scans of voided checks. Okay, you do a photograph and convert it to a PDF, please stop because you're wasting your time. You will not get your money from the SBA. You must use a proper scanning app on your phone or a scanner in your home office or your office and scan the documents, scan the driver's license to a PDF. Do not convert a photo because the photo conversions are every one of them that I have submitted has been kicked back. And I warned our clients about that. I'm like, all right, listen, we'll take it, but, you know, and I was right. You know about me being right.
Yeah, you're right a lot, but you
brag
about it.
Well, I also want to be wrong. So, folks, crystal clear PDF scans, not converted photos, and dotting your I's and crossing your T's because the SBA reps are reading the documents. We had the SBA picked up today on a tax return some previous shareholders, okay, on a previous corporate tax return, and now they want information. Wait, why aren't those shareholders on the application? This is some nuanced underwriting, folks, and we're not used to that. So I guess the thing I want to tell you is only you can know your business. And if you want to be successful in your reconsideration process, instead of whining about how long it's taking, instead of asking silly questions like, when will I have an answer? What's the inside track? Who can I call? Instead of calling the SBA every day, you know what? How about you spend a couple of hours or a day or three getting your act together on your basic business documents, spread it all out on your computer desktop, on your dining room table, and look at all of your information and pretend you're an underwriter trying to reject your own loan.
Yeah.
Find reasons and all that paperwork.
That's what they're doing.
And you will see all the mistakes that you all are making that's making your lives more miserable. And guess what? You control it. You can get out in front of it.
Nobody wants to hear that. We get it. but this is the reality because we see what's going on. So we're just trying to help you understand that there needs to be a little bit more attention to the details of the forms. So,
So we had a file we were working on that is an increase request. I don't know if Chris is here on the show, but Chris is one of our clients, and he's what we call a low maintenance client because he never calls us, and he just like, Trevor, do it. I know you got this. And his loan officer, who I've previously thrown under the bus under this show, actually turns out to be a fantastic. Actually, the loan officer now and I are best friends, and we've been exchanging photographs all day of our guitar collections.
I did not know that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, and he's a former mortgage banker like me. He's worked for the SBA for 17 years.
All right.
So he's a pretty cool guy, and he revealed today that the problem on Chris's file is the legal team.
Yep.
So I just mentioned about perfection on your documents. I'm going to use that example to segue into legal team. So legal team is requesting that our client provide a 2018 tax return and 4506 for a previous business entity which was dissolved. Same essential business, but he had a falling out with the partner and kicked that guy out, dissolved that corporation, formed a whole new entity, and the new entity is what he applied for with EIDL, and we're requesting the increase. But for some reason, someone on the legal team has picked this up, and I know what's going on. They think he's trying to commit fraud. They think he's trying to double dip or something, and so they're overreaching. But this is what you all are going to see because the attorneys are running the show on your EIDL loans right now.
Well, can we get into a little bit of the definition of loan officer, which, by the way, the legal team they are not loan officers. I don't know what they're doing other than trying to be the hero on protecting I don't know what. But
well, I do know they're protecting, and rightly so. This is what you folks all have to understand. There has been fraud, and sadly, all the newspapers seem to do is report about the fraud. By the way, there was a press conference today with the SBA that we were invited to. And then I got an email invitation, and when I tried to RSVP, I was kicked in the teeth by saying, "No, you're not a proper news organization." Thanks, SBA. I don't know why you sent me. This is like targeted events. Why are you sending me an invitation when my business is not in the low-income community? And you can be sure that press conference happened today, and you can be sure those reporters are going to come out of there with one thing. Oh my God, the SBA talked about fraud. Are they going to be talking about the positive things that are happening to help you get money? No, they're going to talk about the fraud, which is probably that percentage, minuscule. So the attorneys, to answer your question, Linda, they are protecting the SBA and the federal government and actually protecting your tax dollars. Bully for them. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with handing off the loan officer decision-making into the hands of attorneys who wouldn't know an abacus from a Radio Shack solar power calculator, which I bought in 1989 for $1.50 when I started my mortgage calculator career. Three things about the attorneys that you all have to keep in mind. Number one, you're dealing with an attorney mindset. So prepare for that when you get your documents and your answers to your questions in a row. Number two, as we said, they're screening for fraud. And number three, those SBA loan reps, and we've thrown a few of them under the bus here on the show, but overall, they are really earnestly trying to get the money into your hands.
Well, we
are doing their best.
We have seen where their hands are tied and they have to move. They have to move it to legal, and then it just lingers on, and the loan officer doesn't even know what to do. He wants to just be done with it.
Well, in this case, I asked the loan officer if we'll get you this information on this previous business from 3 years ago, but would you mind telling me what's the reason?
Right.
And he privately emailed me, excluding the client. He said, "Trevor, I also have been asking the same question of the legal team, and I have yet to be given an answer." And by the way, he and I have been asking this question for 1 month. So that's the other thing. We're noticing that the attorneys, the legal team, seem to be kind of overwhelmed with the volume of work, and that's just kind of slowing down the process. All right. We're going to go into loan officer disease. Okay. Before we do that, just a friendly reminder from the lovely Linda Ray, who has been suffering all afternoon from the secondary effects of her second shot. Friendly reminder from us. We are happy to spend this time with you, giving you free information.
It's been a year. We've been doing this a year now.
And answering in a few minutes, answering your questions. And Linda spends a lot of time answering lots and lots and lots, probably a couple of dozen questions a day on the YouTube comments. And all we ask you to do is show us a little love.
Yeah.
Which is to go to our Google business page and write a review and tell other folks, folks who might want to actually hire our business and pay us. Because you know what? When they hire us, that gives us the ability to come here and give you all free information and answer your questions for free. And I say free like all caps, because you know what? No one else on YouTube is answering these questions for free in the same quality level that we are. And we know it because when you all call me for the free 15-minute consultation, that's what every single one of you say. You guys tell me that. I don't watch other YouTube videos. So just show us the love. Please, we ask you to pay this tiny thing, 3 minutes of your time, go to our Google business page and write a review. 5 stars, hopefully, just because 5 stars for how gorgeous and hot Linda is. And of course, I'm wearing my Led Zeppelin 1977 t-shirt, my first concert at Madison Square Garden. Please help us out, show us a little love, show your appreciation for the value that you're gaining hopefully from our free information and answering your questions here. And of course, there is a button down here that if you want to make a financial contribution, you're welcome to do that. But really, all we're asking is some love in the way of a review. I don't think that's a terrible overreaching request. So
no, especially because we definitely spend a lot of time answering free questions. And some people have been, they actually ask more than one. They ask a couple, even on the chat, like between the emails, the text, the chat box, the comments. We spend a lot of time answering questions, and it's becoming a little bit prohibitive because and dealing with the occasional troll, like the guy that wrote today. Yeah. What did he say? Don't hire these people. Don't hire these clowns. Don't hire these clowns. There's only one of it's a clown, and it's me. Oh, Yvonne, thank you so much. Hi, Yvonne, thank you. You're so kind. All right, so let's get into the meat of today. Well, just one last thing on the reviews. Okay, we had a meeting this morning about it. And Shane. We did a quick calculation, which was not hard to do, and hashtag math is fun. And we kind of figured out that her alone, this beautiful girl here alone, is that where you got the shot? No, on my other arm. Other arm? I'd be screaming if. Okay, really? It's not as bad as the first one. The first one was bad. We did some basic 5th grade arithmetic, and we discovered in our short conversation about it this morning that the amount of reviews that we get for this free question and answer session on a Wednesday night and the other free comments that we answer all week long, 7 days a week, all day, all afternoon, all night, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of answers and questions we engage with, and there are no reviews to match up to that, proportionate. Okay. So I just want to let you know, as a business owner, I'm inclined to say we're not answering any more questions. All right, so this is the thing that's just me. Let's get into the definition of loan officer's disease as you have experienced for the last 30 plus years, which I think it's actually going on 35 right now. So go ahead. What's the definition as you've experienced? So some years ago, I coined this phrase when I was training loan officers, and I would teach them, basics about how to interact with you, the applicant, the borrower. And one of the things I said to them was, in the do's and don'ts. And when I said, don't do this and don't do that, don't this, it popped in my head one day, and it has stuck ever since. I said, when you answer questions, thank you, Jeff. You're so funny. The pizza fund. Oh my God. When loan officers respond in ways that I'm going to describe in a minute, I call it loan officer disease, because what a good loan officer does is provides clarity and guidance and a professional aspect to your experience. Now, we know that the loan reps and the loan officers at SBA are overwhelmed. They have limited time, but I think it is not impossible to spend an extra 14 seconds to put together a proper email or to answer a question for you. But you all have to do your part to help. And that is, as I said before,
perfection. If you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, you should be able to answer and or encounter, push back on in a friendly way, any encounter you have with a loan officer on unrealistic questions. So here are the definition of loan officer disease, okay?
Okay.
Loan officer disease, number one, your concerns are perfectly addressed.
Oh, yeah. That's
Perfectly addressed. Perfectly. And they go like this. You ask the loan officer, how long would this take?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the answer you get from the loan officer disease person. Oh, by Friday.
And given the state of affairs, people are counting on that expectation because they've been waiting. Like Jamar, I think, posted that he'd submitted something back in November. So
there's a sense of authority because you're the applicant and you are relying on the authority of this loan officer. And when the loan officer says to you definitively, oh, well, it'll be done by this date and by that date. Here's what a real loan officer says to that question. When you say, when will I have an answer from the legal team? When will I have my approval? When will the funding hit? When you ask these open-ended questions, which you always tell you don't ask these, but when you do, here's what a competent loan officer says. Well, we have to complete the process with your file.
yes.
See how different that is from by
Yes.
Friday?
Yes.
Very different. Okay, that's a realistic answer. Next, loan officer disease, vague questions and vague explanations.
Yes.
Vague, vague, vague. I set out from the beginning of my mortgage career, if people wanted to know why I needed
Actually,
a copy of the Social Security card or this, that, I would give an explanation. Hey, an explanation. This is why the underwriter wants
but
it.
there's a fine balance between the previous banner that I had with unrealistic expectations that they're giving you a definitive answer and then the vague. And that's the thing. And that's what we've been seeing for over a year now is that the SBA, because they have different teams and different areas and different processes, that they're all just kind of doing their own thing depending on, I don't know who's in charge.
Well, we know that the SBA has limited guidance for folks. So, that's one of the aspects. Plus, they're overwhelmed. They've got lots of files they're working on in a limited time. And they've got managers breathing down their neck to clear files. So, but again, to me as a professional loan officer, that is not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend it literally, if you time it, it takes an extra 30 seconds. Okay. And all it does, if you're a loan officer, by the way, when you are providing more clear answers and guidance and specific answers, it actually makes your job easier. Okay. So here's another symptom of loan officer disease: inability to explain the process or a reason for a specific request for a document or an explanation or whatever it is. A few moments ago, we talked to you about how SBA, I've noticed now, is rejecting your photos that you converted into PDFs. They're rejecting them. So those driver's license you snapped on your dashboard, your steering wheel, and your kitchen counter, gone. You got to properly scan them.
Yeah.
But you see how I gave a very clear explanation on that. A lot of bad loan officers don't do that. They're just like, and some of them will get nasty. Well, because we're asking for it. That's why.
Well, and let me just chime in here with that, as some of them are like almost unhinged at times because some of them have been beaten up. And it really is a fine balance between someone calling, not being familiar with the process, but demanding answers and demanding explanations. And
which they're entitled to.
Right. But the loan officers, some of them, they don't know. They don't know how to, they don't know. They just know to look at
what was that phrase you just said?
I don't know.
What's that phrase again? Can I hear it again?
I don't know.
A little closer to the microphone.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. You see, that is the number one symptom of loan officer disease. It's the festering pussy sore in the middle of the forehead of a loan officer, a bad loan officer. The inability to say, I don't know.
Yes. And then
by the way, you should also try it at home when one of your customers asks you a question. Do you have the ability? We should do that on our Simple Sense broadcast.
Oh, yes.
Do you have the ability to say, I don't know to your client?
By the way, I want to thank a few of you that are here with us right now for subscribing to our Aurora Consulting Simple Sense for Small Business.
Thank you.
We got the custom URL. We're so excited. As a branding person, I'm a little bit of a dork, and
She's a cute dork.
Yeah, but that's happening. So here it is.
We're over there. Linda's posting the link for you. We're over there. We're talking about things that excite us and interest us and make us curious about how you all run your small business, and simple, sensible ideas that we think we can share with you to help you make your experience more profitable and certainly more pleasurable. So,
Aurora Consulting.
I don't know is such a difficult expression.
Well, can we go into how to assess if the loan officer is good? Because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because thank you. Yeah. No, we're not starting ASMR, Michael. So what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
I might be starting an ASMR video. This is me with my Led Zeppelin shirt.
So let's talk about
Hey, mama. Sit the way you move. Gonna make you sweat. Gonna make you groove.
You have a nice voice, though, I have to say.
Thank you. I love you too, honey.
All right. So how to assess the quality of a good loan officer? Can we talk about that?
And I'm gonna do that for you because you all should be writing this down, because I promise this is going to be worth its weight in gold, and you're all going to want to jump over to our Google review page and write a 5-star review about my Led Zeppelin t-shirt and about this answer, which is going to help you have a dramatically better experience when you are contacted by a loan representative or agent or consultant or whatever they are, loan officer at the SBA. Here you go. And it's so simple, Linda.
Yes.
It's so simple. How can you judge if the person from SBA who's contacting you is a quality professional who does not suffer from loan officer disease? Well, let's start with the email you receive.
Okay.
What does the subject line look like?
Right.
Is it your EIDL number? Is it some confusing? Like I saw one we have a client up near Portland, Oregon. They own a fitness studio, and the SBA assistant processor sent an email that said, needed again, giant space, 4506T. What the hell kind of subject line is that?
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Next, if they call you, how did they begin the phone call? So our client, who has now been approved and funded, Zoe, got a call from her SBA loan officer one day. And she called me up. She said, Trevor, I'm busy.
This guy.
I'm busy cutting hair. She's a hairstylist. I'm busy cutting hair. And then this guy called me.
Total knucklehead.
And she said, Trevor, the guy sounds like he's 17. And he sounded like he was walking back to his house after buying a sandwich at the local Subway sandwich shop. And he gets on the phone going, hey, this is Andy from the SBA.
And Andy?
You know. And by the way, his emails subsequently that mirrored that horrible aspect. That's a dude who suffers from loan officer disease.
Right.
And in her case, by the way, he forgot in the early contact with her to ask for essential elements that she needed for her increase, which thank goodness I knew he needed them. And I said, hey, I know you didn't ask for these yet, but here you go. Do you think he wrote an email back saying thank you?
Nope. No. Of course not.
Contrasting the phone call that our client Jim, who is now approved and funded, he got from a wonderful loan officer named Glenda. Oh my heavens. I have to send her an email thanking her and telling her to share it with her boss. I got a voicemail when she spoke to him.
Oh yeah, you were all over.
Now this is a guy who is running a landscaping business who hired us and said, I called the SBA over 200 times. I'm done with it. I need you guys to take this over for me. It's my busy season now in landscaping. I'm trying to run my business. And he goes, and I'm just not good with these kinds of things. You know, I got an assistant that comes in once a week to do paperwork. I'm not even good with the computer. We're like, got your back, Jim. We've got your back. When she called him, he's hamina. But he said, as we ask our clients to, I have an authorized representative. It's Aurora Consulting. Would you mind calling them? And she said, absolutely. It would be my pleasure to call them.
Which was refreshing because most of the time they aren't.
And she left a voicemail on our office line And it was, I'm not kidding, the most professional voicemail yet that I've received from an SBA agent in 16 months of doing this. That is somebody who does not suffer from loan officer disease. So how do they call you? We got a call from somebody yesterday with who disturbed us tremendously. It's a whole other story. We'll share that another time. But, here's how I call people. Hi, this is Trevor from Aurora Consulting. I'm calling regarding our client, ABC Incorporated, EIDL number 819325. And our number here at the office is blah, blah, blah. And if you have some time today, I would love to speak with you. Professional, concise. Not, this is so-and-so from SBA, and there's blah, 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 86075, and you have to listen to it 17 times to get the phone number. That's loan officer disease. This is simple stuff, folks.
Can we talk about now the right questions to ask?
No, I'm not done with
You're not
defining how to assess the quality of the loan officer.
Oh.
What's their email signature look like?
Yeah.
The fellow I was dealing with today who revealed that he's waiting for the legal team to answer his question and my question, why do they need this client's previous business's tax returns?
Oh, this is outrageous.
His email signature is fully loaded, baby. It's a 69 Pontiac GTO with all of the features and the stripe down the side. Vroom, vroom, and a Hearst 4 on the floor. This guy's signature, his name, loan officer, the full SBA logo and everything. You got to see some of the signatures I see coming from these
But let
SBA
me ask
folks.
you a question on, because now I'm going to forget it. Crap, now it's.
Well, I have one last quality feature.
Yeah, because.
All right. Here's what a great.
The 2018. I wanted to talk about the 2018.
All right, let's come right back to that. So quality loan officer is responsive.
Yeah.
And when I say responsive, folks, listen, we know how you all can be. It doesn't mean you leave a message or send an email at 10 a.m. and expect a call back by 10:02 a.m. Cut it out, okay? Because they're running a pretty busy operation over there. Give them a reasonable time, which to me, a reasonable time is 24, 48 hours, considering how busy SBA is. To get an email back or a phone call back same day is a miracle,
right?
Which I don't expect them to do that. So, responsiveness. These are the key elements that help you to identify if somebody is failing on any single one of these. That will help you prepare for how you should interact with them.
They could be rogue, or they could be just inexperienced, or they just aren't invested because they're contractors and they're just wanting to get the job done and check the box. But I do want to talk about a detail on the 2018 taxes, because we have seen where loan officers were asking to move the file because something with the 2019 taxes, which is still an issue for a lot of people with 2019 taxes. And I have to say, only because I can, it's like, I'm exhausted from answering 2019 taxes. Like, file the taxes if you want the money.
Oh,
but anyway.
All right, well, hold on. No, we get it. You unpacked a lot of different bullet points there. First of all, folks, if you haven't filed a 2019 tax return, just do me a favor, tune out of our broadcast right now. Go find some kitten videos, or a Led Zeppelin bootleg and listen to that and enjoy your evening.
They're not,
because if you did not file a 2019 tax return, you're not getting the money. It's not going to happen.
Now, so let me just.
Unless you have a legitimate reason that you can document and explain with clarity and authority to an SBA. And I say document because your corporation, there was a government contract, and you're still waiting for documents, and on your advice of your accountant, you haven't filed yet, and you're on extension. And by the way, you can prove with the written receipts from the IRS your extension. But if you haven't filed, just because you haven't filed, tune out right now, because you're wasting your time. We don't care, but you're not going to get the money. Secondly, if you have only very recently filed your 2019 return, you will get your money, but it ain't happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
You're going to wait a couple of months. So prepare for that. And this whole nonsense with filing the amended tax returns, the Reddit nonsense. Listen, folks, if you have recently filed an amended tax return, and we know a lot of people are doing it, it is what it looks like it is. It looks like an attempt to commit fraud.
Okay. Well, anyway,
because you're trying to inflate your income.
Let me get back
to qualify for more money.
Let me get back to the 2018 taxes, where we have seen where the loan officer is trying to
explain to them why they want that 2018 return.
Well, I don't even remember, to be honest. It was something about the amount of money on the 2019.
No.
I don't remember.
The reason we've seen some loan officers ask for a 2018 tax return because they are trying to move your file down the field to the goal line. And it's because of this. Your return, the IRS transcript request was sent in, and it comes back. Now, keep in mind, on the SBA IRS transcript request, it says 2017, 2018, and 2019 tax return. So they're asking, so that when they get a return from the IRS, they're going to get 3 transcripts, 17, 18, and 19. Yeah, if you ask the IRS for that, that's what the IRS gives you. If your 19 return has come back, no record found, for whatever reason, the IRS is backed up, you filed late, you haven't filed yet, whatever. Sometimes the good loan officers might use their discretion and say, hey, give me your 2018 tax return because I have in my hand a tax transcript from 2018. And it looks like the income numbers and gross revenue numbers match pretty closely to what you put on your EIDL application. So I can get you this increase you want to get. Send me your 2018 tax. See, that's a legitimate reason.
But now this is where it went awry today with the whole 2018. Some loan officer who had to defer to the legal team.
It was the attorney who's asked for it. The loan officer's not asking for it.
The loan officer isn't asking. The attorney's asking for the 2018 tax returns on a different business that is no longer that doesn't exist.
The loan officer actually told our client, I looked up the previous business in your state registry, and I can see that the business was dissolved. It was a corporation, and the 2 partners had a falling out, and they dissolved the corporation. The name is very similar to the new business, which is an LLC, and the address is the same address. It's actually the applicant's home address. And so I suspect that the attorney who's looking to file smells a rat. Whoa, there's fraud going on here.
That's why.
How can I root out this fraud?
Some of them want to be a hero because it's like they're uncovering.
Well, they're attorneys.
I know.
They're trained to think that way.
Yeah.
So what are the right questions to ask your loan officer?
All right. I have a banner for that. Hold on. Where I had it before. Here we go. All right. Hello.
Here's it may come down to literally, I haven't prepared for this, so I'm going to make it up on the spot here, but I would think the number one question to ask your loan officer when they ask you for documents. Now, again, have your ducks in a row, folks. You know your business. Do not assume that because somebody's reading an application back at the SBA office that they know everything that you know about your business. That's a terrible strategy, and you will fail. You will drive yourself nuts, and you'll be whining on our YouTube channel complaining why you didn't get your money yet. Okay? So if you want to be successful, get your ducks in a row. Having said that, when the loan officer calls you and asks you for a document, do not say, oh, well, I submitted that already. Oh my gosh, I sent it in 3 times. Or don't you already have my 2019 tax return? Which, by the way, they don't. You know why? Because we got your EIDL last year. You didn't use a tax return. You filled out a thing on the internet. No tax return. Stop asking. Stop saying silly things. Oh, you have that already. I've submitted it 5 times.
Oh, yes,
what you want to say is, absolutely, Miss Loan Officer, I can get that out to you in the next 10 minutes, or I'm in my car right now at a client's job site. I'll be back in my home office after 5:30. Is it okay if I send it to you this evening? You see the difference there? And by the way, when you make the loan officer's job positive, guess how much credibility you buy.
I wish I
can't even monetize how much credibility.
I wish I had like a little podcaster sound gear, whatever you call it.
We should do that.
So to get a GIF on bees with honey, people, bees with honey. Okay.
So when the loan officer says, "Can you I'm calling from the SBA," thank them. Thank them for their hard work.
Yeah.
And thank you for reaching out. What can I do to help you to help me?
Yeah.
That's your reaction. Now,
even if you have to go down deep into the depths of your soul.
Why? Why should you have
because
to?
People are
you know what
angry.
It costs you to be kind and to be nice and to be
I
patient?
know,
Costs
but
you nothing.
People are
it's
angry
easy to be
and
nice.
they want answers because they're not getting the money. So
you're going to say, "Thank you for calling, and what can I do to help you to help me?" And the loan officer is going to say, I'm going to send you an email in a few minutes. I'm going to ask you for a letter about bankruptcy, your insurance, and your board resolution, and your 2019 tax return. You know what not to do? Don't launch into a tirade saying, "Oh, But why do you need that? And can I ask you, Ms. Alonso, what about the insurance? You know, when you start getting into that whole nitty-gritty,
Tangential. When you start getting into
how about you take it
granule
one step at a
tangents.
time? Remember what I'm constantly telling everybody on these shows. It's a process.
Mhm.
Respect the process, and you will respect yourself, and you will respect your money, and you will get your money.
Mhm.
Respect it. So she says, I'm going to send you an email for a few minutes. In a few minutes, please review it. If you have questions, then reach out to me. You see what she's telling you? She's telling you, please don't ask me any questions right now. Read the email first.
Hey, Ann.
So, yeah, Ann Zaprasny is right. In a way, we're being your sales coach on how to interact. By the way, Ann Zaprasny is a rock star in the sales and the athletic training field.
Yes.
And y'all, if you have children,
Leadership
and teenagers who want to excel, they're athletic and they're doing well, but they want to do great, follow Ann, because she's got something to share with you which will blow your mind and will take your child's athletic performance to a whole other level.
Yes.
She has proven results.
Yes, she does.
Okay?
It really is.
This is not one of those fake diet plans. And I did not mean to throw you under that bus.
It is not diet. It's mental. It's
mental
athletic performance
and mental preparedness.
And
It's
mental
the ability
preparedness,
to focus your mental acuity on your athletic performance.
Okay.
So
what's next?
So the right question to ask your loan officer. Thank you. You know, and so she says, check the email. Then if you have questions, read the email. And do it when you're in a calm, quiet place, not when you've got kids running around you or you're on a football field playing with your buddies on a Sunday afternoon having a few beers. You know, read it like the professional that you should be.
Right.
And
I wonder
if you have then questions, then write the questions back to the SBA loan officer in an email. And remember, I'm always saying the word brevity. Use brevity and clarity in your email.
They're not going to read a dissertation or a novel length story. It's not going to happen.
Don't we get those from people?
Yes, we
what
do.
do we do?
We don't. We have to break it down and then really talk to them about, don't do that. If you're talking to the SBA, stop doing that. All right. So where are we in the?
When they ask you for items that they need, tell them you have them. Don't say, oh, I'm going to have to go looking for that. Or don't say, oh, I'm going to have to call my accountant. They don't care.
Right.
They don't want to hear that.
Just do it.
You are the one who's responsible to submit the documents. They don't need to hear your horror story about how your accountant has been out of town for 3 weeks and doesn't return your phone calls. By the way, if that's the case, it's time to fire your accountant and get a new one. Okay.
A lot of accountants should be getting fired from where we sit, for sure.
If you are requested to submit documents to your SBA portal, here's a little Trevor loan officer trick. Send it in also by email to the PDC reconsideration team as a redundancy backup. It all goes to the same place.
If you guys need me to put the email, I'm sure you have it. I'm sure you have kept all of this information at the ready in a nice organized fashion. If you need me to post the email for the PDC Recon's email at SBA, I'll put it in the comments, but you all should have all of that organized on how to send an email to that
email. All right, so I'm almost done with how to interact with your loan officer, and then we're going to get to some questions and answers. You're going to have to wait. How much do you all hate that word? You hate that word.
It is a four.
By the way, you know how many days it's been since the SBA announced there was an increase? 70.
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
70 días. Increíble. Ustedes no tienen la paciencia para esperar más de 2 semanas.
Well, you know,
y'all don't have the patience to wait longer than 2 weeks. Okay, it's been 70 days. This is light speed.
This whole
and people are getting funded.
But the thing too is, swipe left, swipe right on Tinder. One click next day. Everyone is so used to immediate gratification.
That's not how commercial financing works. Okay, I have 2 somewhat silly sounding suggestions for you, but you follow these 2 suggestions. It will take your experience to heights that you can't even imagine of results, which result means you get a check from the SBA funded into your account for your EIDL. Here's the 2 suggestions. Number 1, when the agent calls you, write down her name and her agent ID and her phone number. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? When you're on the phone, use her name on the phone. Well, Joan, thank you for calling me, Joan. You SBA agents, Joan, are fantastic. You know, you're making a human connection there.
Right.
Here's my second suggestion.
Yeah.
It's going to sound crazy silly. Buy yourself a little memo pad. You remember the kind of memo pad you had in second grade? You used to send love notes to the cute girl in the next row. Get one of those little spiral note memo pads and a pen and keep it with you at all times, because when that call comes in, take out the memo pad and jot it down. You want to try to do it on your smartphone? Good luck. Good luck, because you better be really, really good with smartphones to be able to, all right, you know, I got my AirPods. Let me open this up to a memo, or I'm going to put you on speakerphone. And meanwhile, you put on speakerphone, there's people in the background. Now you can't hear the SBA agent. You know what's really simple? It's old school, little memo pad. You do those two things, your results and your experience is going to improve so much. You're going to have such a good time, and you're going to get your money. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Linda Ray. I'm going to shut up now.
Wow. So,
how many minutes did I talk, by the way?
It's been 45 minutes. Yeah, 60.
I could go for another
Michael,
7.
you're a writer. Of course you have 60 notebooks. You're so awesome. All right. So if you'd like, we can, I mean, after 45 minutes can totally shut it down.
Well,
but if you got questions, we have questions. Hold on.
Hold on.
All right.
Smacking my hand away from the
All
computer
right. So
screen.
hold on. Let me go.
So you know how we work here. Linda has her MacBook open down here, and she's reading your questions. She's going to put them up on the banner. We ask you, if you're going to ask a question, folks, you get one time.
One time.
One time.
So be super specific.
Be specific, and we're going to give you an answer. Please don't come back with secondary questions. We have time we want to share with everybody. And
all right,
be very
Gus.
specific, and spelling counts.
If you started a business in 2020, how could I have a 2019 tax return?
Well, you cannot, Gus. But what you're going to have to do is document that you started the business prior to January 31st of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how you would do that for your specific case, but you're going to need to document the business was in existence prior to January 31st, which is the deadline date for the EIDL to be eligible.
Yes.
February 1st, and
Buster, yes.
Next.
Yes.
If I don't know if you've put in an original application, Gus, but essentially it works like this. You put in an original EIDL application, it will be declined, because when it asks you what your gross revenue was in 2019, you're going to put 0 because you have none. Right, Gus? No revenue, no tax return. It will be declined. That's okay. You want it to be declined, because then you will file a reconsideration, which is your opportunity, Gus, to share your story. And an application, as I have often said and trained many loan officers, and I told them this, your application is your story about your situation that helps an underwriter, or in this case, an SBA loan officer, make a decision about lending you the money. And in your case, Gus, you're going to say on your reconsideration request, I started my business January 2020, and then provide the narrative. Were you able to generate any income in 2020? Show them what that is. If you filed your 2020 tax return, which, by the way, if you want to get this loan, you should do that and submit a copy of it, or at least a 2020 profit and loss statement. You will absolutely have to have that. If, on the other hand, you couldn't generate any revenue, but maybe you have expenses, put down the expenses as your economic injury. That's what you suffered. You had to pay these bills even though you had no revenue coming in because of COVID. And last but not least, Gus, if you had a business plan when you were launching your business in early 2020 that projected, let's say, a certain dollar amount for revenue, show the SBA in your reconsideration process your business plan. Say, listen, this is the business plan I wrote for my business that I launched in January 2020, and this is how much I anticipated earning, which I didn't earn any of it or only part of it because of COVID. I hope that helps.
Okay.
That was a great question. Thank you, Gus.
Yes. So 77 winner. I've seen you here posting. So what?
I'm going to let Linda answer this.
Please,
because
rather
my head will explode.
Because since yeah, you just have to wait. I'm sorry. You have to wait until they get back to you. You know,
there's nothing you can do.
If you know of the requirements because you're hanging out on a YouTube channel that is presenting you what requirements to expect, then start getting them ready so you can, boom, send them in right away. But you just have to wait. I'm sorry to say.
We said a few minutes ago, 77, to have all your ducks in a row. And we have done multiple videos on things to prepare you for that contact from the loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
Spend your time on that. Stop checking your portal. I mean, stop.
Yes, stop.
77, I mean, stop. Never do it again. Ever.
When you stop
until the loan officer
on
contacts you and tells you to do it.
It might happen. I've seen that happen. I mean, I don't want to get all mystical and metaphysical, but I have seen where people, I said, just stop focusing on it. Go do something else, and then they're like, "Hey, I got an email," or "Hey, I got a whatever." All right, so let me see if I can find. Oh, I want to. Okay, Timothy, I'm going to answer this, and let me make a note of this: 49 minutes and 47 seconds. He may be gone because he was here a long time ago. But the question is about closing documents and how long before the deposits. I'm going to say this, and I'm never answering this question again. Okay, it's going to come when it comes. But if you need a date range because for some reason you need to know, it's probably between 8 days and 10 days, or a week and 10 days. It's going to get to you. Just don't worry about it. You did that's the other thing that I see that I see with people. They can't even stop and celebrate that they made it through the worst part of this entire process. They have to still know more. It's like, I got approved, but now what? It's like, now what? You wait for the money. So, maybe 8 days, maybe 6, maybe 10. I don't know.
Quote us on that. We don't know.
We don't know because nothing is the same.
The results are different for every situation.
I got to make a note of this so I can do a little short, so that when people ask me this, it's like, go here to 50 minutes. Okay. Deborah Rose. Deb, are you still here?
Hi, Kathy Lee.
Let me see where Deb asks.
Kobina. Hey, what's up, laddie? Dr. Shaw. Hi.
Shooty patooties. She was asking about, oh, here it is. EIDL loans I got last year has not shown up.
Because they don't, Deborah.
Yeah.
EIDL loans are not reported on your personal credit profile.
51.
On the other hand, I read something interesting today in one of the SBA documents that you signed, Deb, when we submitted your reconsideration, SBA Form 3501. It has all the legal jargon about the EIDL program. What's interesting is it says that if you default on an EIDL, they have the right to report it to your credit bureaus. That's interesting. But we have never seen an SBA loan appear on anyone's personal credit report because it's not a personal loan. It's not personal debt. You may be personally obligated for it, and if you're a sole proprietor or self-employed or independent contractor, or a personal guarantee, but it doesn't go on your personal credit.
Christopher, hello. I remember the compliment from last week, so that's why your comment's coming up.
Oh, right. I remember Christopher.
More worried about
I love his profile picture.
I'm assuming that you're worried because of the stories you hear about the SBA kicking back money from a business account to a business account.
Contact your bank. You're going to have to ask them that question and give them a heads up. If your business is an entity and you apply for the EIDL under your entity, and you expect that money to get deposited into a personal account, you should expect that your bank's going to give you a hard time about that. On the other hand, if you're self-employed, what we have seen is the banks don't even know what the hell self-employed means. And they don't understand that you could qualify for a PPP or an EIDL loan. So you need to contact them. And by the way, don't tell them it's a business. Say you're self-employed and you're expecting a large deposit. That's different from saying you're a business. Don't tell your bank you're a business, because you're not. You're self-employed. You're a sole proprietor.
Right.
You're expecting a large deposit from the U.S. Treasury. Give them that heads up.
Okay.
That's the only advice we can give on banking. We don't deal with banking issues here. We don't do tax returns. So
yeah, but we've seen some stuff. I think too,
we've seen some stuff.
We've seen some stuff.
Yeah, we've seen some stuff.
People are thinking, and I'm going to make a note of this too to translate this 53 minutes and 24 seconds. People think the SBA has their act together to have a process that every file for every person, it happens exactly the same way. This happened to me when I was in the insurance. When I was selling insurance, I owned an agency. And
I love how my beard
I would. So this is what would happen. First of all, I couldn't stand doing personal lines. So your auto, your home, in an umbrella. But I loved business insurance. I loved talking to business owners, but often on the personal lines, someone would compare, like, why is my insurance not this? Why is it more expensive than my neighbor? It's like, no, you can't even compare it. It's the same thing with this. Nothing. They don't have a process.
Can we answer
Perez.
Linda Perez's question?
Yes.
This is Linda. Thank you. This is a fantastic question.
Thank you. And thank you for the
and
compliment.
this goes to what we were just talking about a moment ago, Linda, about loan officer disease. Okay. So the SBA representative who's asking you for Form 3503, if that person did not do all of the following, then that person is suffering from loan officer disease, and you should still speak with them politely, but you need to put on your professional business owner cap and come back at them hard and say, listen, all right, so here's the things they should have done if they're proper loan consultant, loan processor, loan officer. Linda, we need you to send in SBA Form 3503. I'm going to email it to you right now, the link to the SBA website, or I'm going to email you the form. And what this form is, Linda, is the form that allows you to apply for the $10,000 advance from the COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program from last year. That's what a 3503 is, which, by the way, it doesn't exist anywhere. Unless there's some new development that the targeted advance people are using, it doesn't exist. But what a proper loan officer, loan consultant should have done was exactly what I just said to you. This is what the form is, Linda. I'm going to send it to you right now, or I'm going to send you the link onto the SBA website so you can download the form, fill it out, and Linda, make sure you put an ink signature on it. We will not accept an electronic signature, and scan it with a scanner as a PDF. Don't take a picture with your smartphone and send it directly to me, or send it to PDC Recons or whatever email address. You see how the steps are clearly laid out? It sounds to me, Linda, like you got somebody who suffers from loan officer disease who said, okay, listen, so what we got to do is you have to send in SBA Form 3503. All right, any other questions? Thank you for calling the SBA. Have a nice day.
Right.
How's that helping you?
I'm going to put this up, even though your mind is going to explode. But Lily 100able, you must not have been here about 15 minutes ago when we talked about tax returns being amended. And I also don't know if you are doing some time travel into 2029. I'm assuming you probably mean 2019. If you just amended your returns from 2019 in February 2021, you're in for a long road.
Well, let me answer. Hang on. That may not be such a long road because it's February of 2021. So a couple of things there, Lily. Number one, what is the reason why you filed an amended return? And you should prepare a written statement to that effect. Dear SBA, to whom may concern, the reason I filed an amended return for my 2019 return is for the following reasons on the advice of my accountant. By the way, always on the advice of my accountant. Always.
Yeah.
You better have an accountant, by the way, when you make that statement, because otherwise you're lying to the federal government, and it's a crime. So also, because it was back in February, your chances are pretty good that transcript will show up in the IRS by now. So, I mean, it's 5 months, 4 months. So it should show up.
You know,
and if not, you just have to wait till it does.
But we have seen where we think something's going to happen, and then something else happens that is contrary to what we thought could happen. That's the other thing. I mean, it really is an honor to be able to share some of the things that we've gone through with people, but it really is so inconsistent that, you know, we'll some of our videos that like were maybe 3 months ago or 6 months ago, it's like we did a video on they only wanted wet signatures on 4506, but then they started 2 months ago or a month ago sending DocuSigns for 4506. So it's like, you know.
I want to address that because actually this happened to me literally today. I was uploading documents on one of our client reconsideration files, and it was SBA Form 2202 Schedule Liabilities, which I had sent to the client. And I asked them to fill it out and sign it and send it back to me. And I guess I didn't triple check it or whatever, but I just realized it today when I looked at the form that because SBA, I uploaded to the portal, and now SBA is saying it's incorrect. And I looked at the form the client submitted, and it has an electronic signature. But it's one of those facocked Adobe signatures. So cool. It has no timestamp on it. You know, it's one of those things you can do in a PDF, but it's not a real electronic signature. You know, Adobe has the ability to make a proper electronic signature, but it's a locked document. It locks the document, and it has a timestamp and everything. That's a legitimate electronic signature like DocuSign. But you use that other PDF feature of just putting your, a fake signature in there. Unacceptable.
Mhm.
That's why the SBA, I know, because I went back when this old wet signature thing happened with the 4506, the SBA was blaming the IRS, which may have been true, but it's because, as several agents explained to me, they're like, Trevor, you're sending in DocuSigns, and DocuSigns are perfectly fine. She said, more than a few of them said, it's probably because these people are using these apps on their smartphones, and it's not a real signature, and it's not a real electronic signature. So an electronic signature has to be secure. The document has to be locked, and it has to have a time and date stamp.
So this is not a question, but RPM handicapping is saying about his timeline, which is really amazing.
There you go.
And that's congratulations. So it does happen.
And your sister, 57 days. This is what we're trying to tell. This is what we're saying, about 6 to 8 weeks.
But you have to have, again, the ducks in the row. And the reason why I had the banner up for the Google review is because if any information that we have provided to you either helps to calm you down or maybe get you more organized or get ready to present a requirement that is going to be necessary, we would love it if you could jump over to our Google page and just share your experience, because other businesses then can find us to then hear some of the things that we've been sharing from direct real life cases. Real examples of people going through the SBA
and hearing the information that we share. And it's a very small price we ask you to pay to take the advantage of this free information that we provide on our videos, the free phone calls we make, and the questions and answers here on our Wednesday videos, WTF Wednesday, and also what Linda does all week long.
Yeah.
We had a quick chat about it this morning. We discovered by doing some basic fifth grade arithmetic that y'all are not writing enough reviews proportionate to the amount of questions that we answer.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, folks. And if you want us to continue with this free information, which every time someone calls me on the free phone calls, they say, you guys are the most informative folks out there. Great. We appreciate that compliment. We strive to be accurate, but you need to pay us a small price for that. And all that we ask you to do, go to our Google review page. The link is down below, and write a review. Do it right now.
Yeah. So Encore has a question about asking for the same documents since April 16th. I
have a new phrase to respond to that, Encore. And my answer to that is, why are you questioning instead of submitting?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that.
This is Loan Officer 101 telling you, Encore, if the SBA, if you're requesting money from an institution, in this case, the SBA, and they ask you for the document, submit it. I'll share a quick story with you about my experience in the mortgage business. Going to this, why do you need that?
Yes.
And, we were chatting with our good friend Mike Ferraro today.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt you because this is what I want to say. I'm going to be with you guys where I understand why you're asking for it, because it's just a natural curiosity. But hold on. Yeah, some people are belligerent because they're impatient and they just want to know why. But the thing is, the SBA is not organized, number one. And
they're getting better, though.
And if you're not skilled with how to be a loan officer, like how Trevor manages the files and will push back on some stuff, but he knows how to maneuver the question with what they're looking for. But he'll still submit stuff more than twice, more than 3 times, because they're asking for it and they don't have it. Whatever the reason is, they don't have it. I mean, are you surprised that they're not organized?
If they're asking for it again, especially when you're talking about
so submit it again,
4506 or driver's license, look at what you submitted, Encore, and possibly what you submitted is defective. We talked a few minutes ago about poor PDFs. We are seeing the SBA is kicking back. When you all take those photographs of your driver's licenses on your kitchen counter and you convert it to a PDF, fail. It's not going to be accepted.
And they may not tell you what went wrong.
They're not going to tell you. All it says is incorrect. That's it.
There are nuances on the 4506, the 2202, the 1368.
I want to share the story about my mortgage career, early days of my mortgage career, about this whole questioning instead of submitting. Okay, and here's what it is. I know who that is. That's Stuart. So the questioning goes to this. Way back in the mortgage business, when you run a credit report, often your name may appear on the credit report with variations or on documents that are in the file, your bank statement, your W-2, your driver's license. There are variations on your name. Maybe it's your first name and your middle initial and your last name. Maybe it's your first name and your middle name and your last name. Maybe somewhere, someone along the line misspelled your name. I looked at a tax return today when I was doing a 4506 for one of our clients. His name is Daniel, and his idiot accountant spelled his name Danielle with an E at the end. And I have his driver's license. It's not Danielle, it's Daniel. Ugh. So these name variations, when you're applying for a federally insured mortgage, such as an FHA loan or a VA federally guaranteed mortgage, the requirements from the federal government are very strict. And here they are. It's called an AKA letter, also known as. So if your name is Michael Jones, and on the documents, whether it's in the credit report, because somebody at the AT&T store misspelled your name or added an incorrect middle name, or on your driver's license or on your tax return is misspelled, the underwriter will pick up all those variations and send you a requirement that you write a letter that says, I, Michael Jones, am also known as Michael J. Jones, Michael Jones J, Michael J. Jones, J. Michael Jones, John Michael Jones, James Michael.
Credit bureaus still have my...
Whatever it is. And when here, I've sat in real estate offices, I've sat with clients and doing their applications at the kitchen table. And they're like, but Trevor, I'm not Michael J. Jones. That's not my name. I'm like, okay, listen, I understand that, but you're getting a government loan. It's required. And somewhere in your paperwork that appears. Why? I don't know. I'm not here to try to figure that out. Just sign the letter, write it out, sign it and date it. You see, I was a loan officer and I told the people, good loan officer, I explained why we needed it. And I said, just do it.
Yeah.
I don't suffer from loan officer disease, but that's what I mean when you all are questioning, why is the SBA asking for this? I've sent it in 5 times. Stop questioning and start submitting.
Cookie, we'll get in touch with you when we're offline. So I saw your question. Thank you for that. And we'll figure out something when we can connect.
There you go. Mrs. Perez, who's a real cutie, by the way. Thank you for joining us because, you know, typically Linda's the hottie here in the household and she gets all the compliments and all the guys are all, oh, wow, Linda's hot. So Mrs. Perez, you are a rock star. They have asked me for things over 4 times, but I didn't question it. I just sent it in, no questions asked. Give that woman the I won the internet today prize.
Yes, exactly. Your follow-up though is it takes however long it takes.
Yeah, you have to wait until your loan officer contacts you and you know, tells you you're going to get an email that says you're approved. We've closed. So by the way, folks, just as a shout out to us folks here, patting ourselves on the back.
Yes, we're
here at Aurora Consulting.
I'm using my non-arm that I got my second shot.
As of tomorrow, from the last 4 weeks, our clients here at Aurora Consulting have received over $4.2 million in various forms of
like
SBA
it's 4.3
funding.
right now.
4.2. I think it's like 4,260,000. I'm the one who does math in the family. Hashtag math is fun. And so I share this with you, first of all, to kind of toot our own horn about the results we get for our clients when they leave us alone to do what we do best, which is to process these loans in a methodical manner, but also to give you all encouragement and hope that when we tell you to wait and be patient, you will be successful. You will get the money. People are getting the money.
Can I tell them the story about the insurance, the wackadoodle insurance that the lawyer held up for a week, and we still haven't heard back, and we just have to wait?
Yep.
So, all right. I really don't actually want to answer any insurance questions. I've done so much content on the insurance and we're coming out with our roadmap to reconsideration. There's going to be a whole section on hazard insurance, but we had a lawyer get involved with this guy who works from home. He's a client of ours. He rents where he lives and he's in the transportation business. So when
trucking business.
So when he's not at home, he's driving, but he does work from home. We got the policy with the property up to 80% of the loan of the EIDL loan. We got everything we've known that the SBA generally majority accepts. This lawyer came in and was hung up on business property. And even on a business insurance policy, it says business personal property. I don't know if you've ever checked your business policy, but it says business personal property.
It doesn't say business property.
It doesn't say business property.
And this attorney...
It's been over a week.
Well, we got it cleared finally.
But we got it cleared, but he hasn't been approved, and we could have possibly had this approved. Who knows?
So in this case, the client owns a trucking business. He owns 2 cabs and a trailer. He employs a second driver. He drives and he employs a second driver. He also employs a remote assistant. She works from her own residence on a laptop, her own personal laptop. The client, I asked the client, I said, do you fix your truck yourself? No. Well, what happens when the truck breaks down? Anything. I don't care if it's a windshield wiper or tires or whatever. Oh, I take it to the mechanic.
First
everything.
of all, I will tell you this lawyer, he just couldn't.
He was a piece of work.
He was really not nice, and he was trying to school us. Now, first of all, here we go. I'm a licensed insurance broker. I've been licensed for 20 years. I've been in the insurance for 30 years. He's a retired mortgage banker doing loans for 30 plus years. And this guy was trying to school us on how to underwrite a loan and how to get insurance. I was like, you have got to be kidding
Not just
me.
that, he was a smarmy son of a gun.
Yeah.
He went behind our back.
And then I looked him up on LinkedIn.
Now the client had told him on the phone, because the client was driving his truck, by the way. He pulled the truck off the road to take the call from this guy. He said I have an authorized representative. Please call Linda, Ray, and Trevor. He sent in an email. He sent in a signed authorization letter. The attorney had acknowledged that we're his authorized representative by communicating with us. And at one point, because we were pushing back and saying to him, you are wrong, sir. Respectfully, you are incorrect. This client cannot get the kind of policy you're asking for. It does not exist. And he went behind our back and wrote an email directly to our client, which of course our client forwarded to us 12 seconds later. And he said, sir, to our client, I find it impossible to believe. I've been working with businesses for many years. I find it impossible to believe that a business that generates over $300,000 in revenue and has 2 employees does not have any equipment or tools or any other,
he was
business
totally
property.
Speculating and making assumptions versus facts, which I find it difficult to believe that an attorney is actually speculating versus going on facts.
So I put my loan officer hat on, which I've done, arguing with the best underwriters in the business for many decades. And I wrote an email saying, we're contacting you because you notified our client, and here's the information you need to render a decision. Number 1, here's the clearly defined fact pattern for our client. He's a truck driver. He has 2 cabs. He has a trailer. He lives and works out of a condominium that he rents. Okay. And he files his corporate tax returns from the same address where he rents. All of his documents are at the same address. There is no other address. Okay.
It was,
and he owns a laptop. He employs a driver. He employs a remote assistant who works from her own home on her own personal laptop. The only equipment he has is a laptop. He has minimal tools that he keeps on the rig, essentially a couple of wrenches and screwdrivers. But when he has a repair,
likes are free.
When he has a repair, he takes it to a mechanic. So I laid out the fact pattern. I then said, I copied his statement that he wrote in the email to our client about the $300,000.
Let's not relive this.
Well, you brought it up.
I know,
so
but
we're there.
I know.
We're there, and I'm almost done. So $300,000, you find it hard to believe. I said, really? I said, because what if he were a doctor with a medical practice who is incorporated as a doctor, as a professional corporation, which a lot of doctors do. In fact, oh my God, we have a client
we have a couple
in California who's a personal corporation, right, for his protection. And he works for multiple different hospital systems, and he bills them and bills insurance companies.
Yep.
And he has a remote assistant. I said, so for instance, and this doctor does in excess of $300,000 a year.
And he doesn't have equipment because he's going to the hospital.
I said, or a financial services business that helps people to get EIDL loans and has a remote file manager
I don't know
does document
who
control
does that.
and works out of they have an office, but they work out of their house with a couple of video lights and a couple of computers. What about that?
And mugs with
and
our
generates
mugs on
revenue.
Them. Mugs with our mugs.
So P.S. sometime around 3:00 Friday, after arguing with this guy for days, we won the argument. And he let it go.
Well, we're just waiting for the approval now. So, all right. Well, we don't have any questions, so we're going to wrap it up.
No questions at all. Wow. What a quiet night.
We had answered some questions, but I
Let's pop back into the questions because you're showing banners here. Let me show me some questions.
Well, there's no questions. I'm telling you, I know.
Yeah, Linda is hot, but you got that ASMR thing.
Yeah, that's Michael. I love Michael. Michael's a writer. You should check out his channel, Writer's Sanctuary. First of all, I mean, how do you not want to go to that channel? It's just so like, oh, thank you. Thank you.
You missed one. There was one right there.
What?
Right here.
Oh, I did miss that.
Okay, Mike. Thanks for tuning in, Mike. Appreciate it. Looks like Mike is a musician. I hope you play some good tunes. By the way, I was reading Mike today in the New York Times. Fantastic article about Twitch, which is a gaming platform owned by Amazon. But apparently, if you're a musician, you can make some real coin by setting yourself up on Twitch, Mike. Can you put Mike's Twitch? Sorry, Mike. Okay. So, Mike, you got an email from COVID Increase, requested a voided check, copy of ID, scheduled liability. Sent the info. Good for you, rock star.
Awesome.
Sent the info. Have a stamped copy. My 2019 has. Should I send it?
Not totally.
Well, I would definitely send. I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. But just
you may have to submit it again.
Just keep in mind, and this is what a lot of folks. I know Encore was asking before, or someone else asking about. I've sent it in multiple times. What you all don't realize is what your file looks like at the SBA on the computer. Mm-hmm. Okay, you at home, you got on your desktop, you got a file folder, and you have your tax return, and you have your copy of your photo ID, and you have your insurance, and you have one or two other documents. That's what your file looks like at home, right? Okay. Do you know what your file looks like in an underwriting system at a mortgage company or at a bank or at the SBA?
Do we have
dozens and dozens, maybe a couple of hundred pages? Do you know why? Because what the system does is every time the file gets touched in any way, shape, or form, whether it's just a generic memo that has nothing to do with your file, but it's generated by the underwriting staff or the administrator or whatever, anything like that, it goes into the file, which means that given time constraints and undertrained, the SBA agents have a lot of difficulty finding documents.
They don't want to look for it. They don't want to look for it.
Or they don't have time to look for it. Maybe they want to, but they don't have the wherewithal or the time. So, Mike, to finish my answer to your question, it cannot hurt to submit it, but manage your expectations that they may come back and ask you for it again. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think 77 winner way back in this show, or a comment I've seen. I don't know if you're still with us, but that was the question. Should I send in what I know they're going to ask?
Well, but in that case, 77 had not heard from any. Mike has received an email from COVID Increase asking for documents. That's a different story. If you have not had any contact at all, I would not submit documents. You're just, it's a waste.
You're asking for having to duplicate your own efforts, and
which you probably have to do many times anyway.
In the 6 months since our channel has been developing, I cannot count to you how many times people have asked, why do they ask me for something more than once? How do they not have it? It is unbelievable the number of times that question has been asked. And it's just, send it in.
By the way, now I'm giggling. Now I know why you giggle so much during the show.
Oh, yeah.
While I'm talking and you all are complaining that I never shut up. This
I
one's
get to
over
hang
here.
out with everybody.
Wait, right here. This one right here.
Oh, this is Michael.
Okay, Michael. I don't have a struggling business. I just like Linda Ray and Trevor.
Well, Michael,
make up 72 fake profiles, get over to Google and write 72 fake reviews.
Well, Michael has a live show on Monday and Friday mornings, I think. So it's always very...
And Mike Townsend, thank you so much for your excellent question. And the way you phrased it, you made it very easy for us to answer the question. We ask you folks, if you're going to ask a question, we're happy to answer them, but we just ask you to do a couple of simple things. Number one, you get one shot. So as Mike Townsend did, put it all in there and spelling counts.
Yeah.
And the other thing we ask you to do, if you got some value out of today's show or our YouTube videos, can you jump over to the Google business page? The link is down below, and write a review, because we did an analysis this morning. We discovered that the number of reviews relative to how many questions we answered just in this one show, not counting all the questions she answers during the week, there's no... you guys are not stepping up, and we ask you just do that simple thing.
Louis, I'm going to tell you this. We're going to get to that for you, with you, and I'll be able to share with you what your options are with the insurance on the 80%. It really depends on what insurance you currently have and what your loan amount will be, or was and will be.
Well, Louis, since you're a client now, and this is an important disclosure for folks who are not our clients, and get a sense of what we do here. Louis, when the SBA asks for the insurance on your file, our insurance pro over here, the broker, will review your insurance for compliance. You actually
Yes.
see the email
Yes.
that I send to Linda at that point. Once I get that contact from SBA on your file, I send an internal email to Linda. I copy you on it. It says, Linda, please review Louis's
Louis,
insurance
you're so
for
sweet.
compliance with SBA.
Thank you, Louis. All right. So the other thing with the roadmap to reconsideration, I think it's been 2 weeks since we announced, and we are literally like at 80%. And I will tell you, as much as it was like chalk on a chalkboard, I do have a whole hazard insurance section, and I will have a checklist for people to check off. Do you have business insurance? No. Do you work from home? Yes. Okay. Do you have renter's insurance? No. Okay. So then you're going to just be able to be guided right into the type of insurance, depending on if you lease an office or if you work from home. If you have EIDL for a certain amount and you don't have contents up to 80%, well, it's all going to be in there. I'm really excited. I'm kind of waiting for this guy to finish up some of the final loan officer touches. And
did we answer everybody's questions tonight? We're all good.
Loyal Logic, which I love your name. EIDL increases solely depend on the LO and the legal you have.
I have to politely disagree with you. That is not the only element. We have come to learn very much of it depends on how you put in your original application and the state of your current documentation to answer those people's questions. Because more and more and more, I, as the loan processor here at Aurora Consulting, assisting our clients with this, I have seen time and again, massive discrepancies, mistakes, all kinds of stuff, phone numbers placed where the EIN number is supposed to be, misspellings of street addresses and names.
But I think he's spot on with just as far as the titles of the people that are involved.
No, again, I have to politely, respectfully disagree with you, because we need to add in there that you all as the applicants need to take responsibility for your own failures in completing the application originally in a correct and accurate manner, for whatever the reason, because you were rushed, because you did it on a smartphone, because you didn't have the understanding of basic business concept, which is okay if you didn't. But, and then now the thing with the documents, like this thing that keeps coming up, amended tax returns, which is clearly some Reddit nonsense that somebody said, oh, you want to get more money from SBA, file. And that sounds like the kind of criminal activity suggestion would come out of Reddit.
All right, stop.
But going back, I say this to you because we did 40 EIDL original applications in the spring and early summer of 2020.
Yeah.
Every one of those clients is either in process and has not had any pushback on the famous discrepancy, or they've already been approved and they're funded and they're closed. Those are our clients that I personally did their applications.
Yes.
So we know that y'all made mistakes on your applications last year.
Yeah, that's true. There is.
And you're continuing to make mistakes, and you're not owning it, and instead you're fighting the SBA. If you can fight all you want, it's like I said before to somebody here. Why are you questioning when you should be submitting?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you're not struggling. That's awesome. That's awesome. You got this. You got it. All right. Time to go, and for me to rest because I'm still this second shot. I don't know if anybody else with the COVID vaccine has been ill from the shot.
Hi, Erica. We're waiting too.
I was not well today at all. And this is the second one. So I'm hoping
by the way,
24 hours.
Listen, let me show you how amazing this beautiful woman is. Okay.
Who, Erica?
No, you.
Oh,
Erica's a good looking gal too. No, you folks, what you need to understand about her, she's, I'm putting in 15, 16-hour days processing our client files, interacting with our clients in the SBA. And reacting to the kind of crazy stuff from the SBA. But she's putting 15, 16-hour days, answering your questions here on YouTube, preparing the content that we send out here to the world to you. And she was doing that today, and she felt like total crapola because of her reaction to the second shot. I had to force her to shut down the laptop and to get into the bed and to just relax. In fact, I made her take her contact lenses out so she couldn't watch her laptop.
Love you, Ricardo.
But by the way, a few minutes later, I discovered she was on YouTube on her smartphone because apparently she had it up to her face like this and was still working.
I'm like legally blind in my right
So I
eye.
had to take that away from her. Hey, Ricardo,
All right.
you are family, brother.
Thank you, everyone, for your support.
Thank
I really appreciate it. Beast mode. Hope everyone is safe and well and happy and strong and patient and hang in there. Stuff will be happening for you. Thank you, Loyal Logic. I appreciate it. I will hopefully feel better tomorrow. I am hydrating like crazy.
Actually, they say that third day it's worse.
Don't tell me that.
I just did.
All right.
In front of a live audience.
All right, everyone.
Love you. Led
Take care.
Zeppelin.
Take care.
Hey.